You are not going to believe how many times in my life I had an error in my automation that completely ruined my life. Nothing worked. I entered the automation and I didn't know why it actually not working because I've built it maybe like 3 years ago. Now, many people that create no-code automation with Make, Bubble, Software, Airtable, and so on fail to document their operations. And I get it. I get why. I'm lazy. I don't have the time. It's only no code, right? As no code developers, we don't actually need documentation. Well, that is wrong. Why? Because now I can show you that folders of documentations that I have, there will be probably hundreds of different scenarios that I've built. It's not going to pass the elephant test. The elephant test means that if tomorrow an elephant is going to run over me and I'm not going to be existing anymore in this universe, in the world, nobody will actually know how to operate these operations, right? It's not passing the elephant test, and today we would like to create a solution for that. I came across this LinkedIn post by a really cool guy named Arik Gzov. I hope I didn't butcher it. Arik Gzov. And basically Arik created this automation. He said, like, listen, you can do this and that and that and that, and it will automate the on-call tasks, which is the no-code automations that you've built. And I decided to go to a journey this weekend and just build it. So today I am going to show you how to document your no-code automations, obviously using AI. It's going to be a 3-step scenario, really simple. We're probably going to build it in 5 minutes. I'll drop down below the prompt that I used to the AI. The successful part about technical documentation is just how they organize the work. If it's not organized well, nobody is actually going to find it. So it needs to be organized. You can organize it in a project management tool, on Airtable, in a folder in Google Drive. So in the last part, I just decided to leave the organizational part to you because it really depends how you decide to organize it. But I am going to drop it on a document. I decided to use Notion. Arik used Confluence. So let's dive right in and I'll show you first of all how it's working and then how I've built it. Basically, this is the automation. It's simple. As I said, the first step is to grab the make scenarios, then we have the AI, and then Notion that actually takes all of them. What I'm going to do, I am just going to choose one of the folders that I have. Let me choose the folder of the app that I've built for the LMS, for the students of the UX Writing Hub. That's the company I've built in the last 7 years. I have a folder which contains maybe 8 different scenarios, and each scenario doing something completely different. If I'll go to the actual folder, you could see it's called the FP LMS v.4. FP stands for future proof, doesn't really matter. But we have all of these automations, one that mails to the mentor, one that updates student submission, one that creates a spreadsheet for the student to track all of their tasks, and so on and so on and so on. So this folder, press run once and let's see what's going to happen. So first of all, make sense all of the data and organizing it, list of the scenarios, it gets all of the different scenarios, then it gets the scenario blueprint, and it goes to the AI and create the Notion page. Simple as that. Now it's continuing to the next scenarios, and maybe 1 minute I'm going to see here more and more and more scenarios. Let's just wait. And in the meantime, I will just press here. This is one automation. That's about it. The markup is not perfect, it's far from it. There are different ways to fix it. So you have the scenario ID, you have the name of the scenario, you have the URL of the scenario, so I could just copy and paste it in case I need to go to that specific scenario, which is good. And in case you need to edit it, it's also good for context. And this is the example of that scenario, specifically Airtable, Gmail, and so on. The tools used, Airtable, Gmail. That's it. Creation date, we can see it was built 2 years ago. So it was built 2 years ago. It was last updated 1.5 weeks ago. So it says who is the user, who is the creator. In this specific case, I created it 2 years ago, but then Make changed their name, so it didn't document the name of the creator. That's fine. Now it says the functionality. This scenario automates the process of sending recap email after one-on-one meeting, and it shows me the architecture as well and how it's actually working, how it starts, what's the scenarios, why we have issues and troubleshooting. Maybe it's the webhook data that is missing, which is correct. When it's missing, the scenario actually don't work. And all of these are the actual failing point that this automation have. And if I go back here, I could see that I have here all of the different technical documentation of my automations created in 1 minute, which is amazing. Let's go to one that is maybe a bit more complicated, like the one that update the spreadsheet with the student assignment. So in this one we have Airtable, Google Drive, Google Sheet, and so on. And if we'll go to the automation itself, we'll see that it's a bit more complicated than that. Okay, so two different tracks it could take and so on. Let's see if it actually grabs the complications of the scenario. So it's updating Google Spreadsheet with student assignment information from Airtable. This is brilliant. It's designed to streamline the workflow for managing student assignments in an educational setting, ensuring that the latest information is always reflected in the spreadsheet. It says even that for test accounts, it follows similar process but may handle data differently. That's exactly the router that we have here, because we have the bootcamp filter, which is another course that we have. So what we have here is a very simple automation that was built that actually creating documentation for us. Let's build it from scratch. And the main point here basically is the prompt engineering part. The rest is probably the simplest thing you could think about. But let's go to the right folder. You can see I have already many folders and many different scenarios. Make documentation and let's build the automation from scratch. So I'm creating a scenario, I choose make, and then you can actually literally build this automation in 2 minutes. So list of scenarios, then you pick it from here at on demand, which is what I do. I just press run once, and then you pick your make connection, organization ID, you pick it, connect it to make, then team ID, that's my team, and then you need to pick the folder that you want to document. Each time I pick a different folder because, to be honest, I decide to choose when the technical documentation is going to be written. I'm picking the document right here. Let's pick another one that is used, like the one with the certificates. Okay, let's go for operations. Let's document our operation folder. Now, the next thing you want to do first, and you can also limit the amount of number of results. Usually I don't have more than 10 scenarios in one folder, but you can go ahead and just choose whatever you want here. Then another make to just get a scenario. So we want to get the scenario ID. That's why we will just go here and pick the scenario ID. Simple as that. Scenario ID. That's it. Okay. Next thing we want to do is to get the blueprint. That's an important part because in the blueprint data, you have a lot of hidden information about your automation. I tried to do it without it and it didn't work. So get a scenario blueprint. Also need to pick the scenario ID as well. And we're choosing the scenario ID right here. And we're picking the scenario ID, and that's about it. That's per part one. We've finished to grab all of the information about our automation. That's it. Part two would be about creating this AI module. You could pick Gemini, you can pick ChatGPT, or you can choose Claude like me because that's my favorite. I already connected it to Claude and I pick add a message, role, user, content, add text, and that's how you prompt your AI using Make. And here, what you need to do basically is to create the right prompt that will tell it, hey, you have this chunk of data. I want you to split on the other side the documentation for this data. So in the beginning, I was like, hey, this is the name, used packages. That's what I tried to do. Did it work? It worked really poorly. I said like used package name and voila, please create a documentation. It didn't got it. But then when I talked to my friend here that gave me the scenario, and this is the prompt I'll be using. It say based on the following code of make scenario, and then I take the data from the blueprint. Create a Notion page about that make.com scenario. The new page should immediately start with a table containing scenario attributes, each in a separate row. The row titles should be placed in the first column, and the value in the second column. The table should look as follows. And then it actually grab name and the scenario ID and the scenario URL. I can actually put here as variable. I just took the URL of my workspace and drop here the ID, and then it's placed the URL and more stuff here like who is the creator, who updated it last, and that's about it. And if we're going to the output, we can actually see this table. If we were using Confluence, it would actually look like a table. And the formatting is a bit off, I know, but it is what it is for now. That's about it. So we have the architecture and the possible issues in troubleshooting. It's really short and straightforward. So let's go back to the prompt, this is the prompt. I'm going to drop the prompt also if I have the consent of the creator. I'm going to share with you the prompt. Look it up down below. And this is a good time to plug in the fact that we are building a new community of AI makers. I'm going to share with everyone all of my blueprints and all of the prompts that I create. You can join the waitlist for now because I haven't launched it yet, but it is going to be launched soon, and you have the opportunity to get my personal guidance on all of this crazy work that we're doing. And that's about it. So I drop here the prompt. Notice that you have like different variables. You just have to grab them from the different scenarios of make, like the blueprint data, the name, the scenario ID here, and so on. I'm scrolling slowly in case you want to copy and paste it to your own makes, so I'm doing it slowly. Great. So that's about it. And the last thing would be to throw it into Notion. So you connect it to Notion and you create a page, and that's about it. You insert it into a parent page. What I did is to insert it into a parent page, which is the make documentation page, and it was simple as that. I just dropped in the content of the page the content of my AI, and this is the automation. Simple as that. This is how you build a no-code automation that document your no-code scenarios and give your team an opportunity to get a glimpse of how the automation actually works. My name is Yuval Keshtecher. Feel free to follow, subscribe, do anything you can in order for the algorithm to like me a little bit more, and I'll share with you some more content for free so you will have the opportunity to get better at making cool stuff happen. See you in the next video. Bye.